Having an EV and living in a place where you can't charge overnight can make life pretty difficult. So, can I make a 224-mile daily commute work for me when I can't charge from home? Stay tuned to find out. So here's the summary of this crazy commute. So on average, I would drive about 5.5 hours every day. Total quick charge time was about 2 hours, and I would use about 105% of the battery. A quick backstory behind this whole crazy commute. My girlfriend wasn't able to drive for a couple months, so I would be taking her to work and picking her up from work. Now, one round trip to her work is 112 miles, so the whole total for the day would be 224 miles. Here's a breakdown of what the average trip looked like. So I would leave my house with about 80%, drive to her work for about an hour, use up about 30%, come back home, which would take about 1.5 hours, and I would use about 25%. Then during my lunch, I would charge for about 40 to 60 minutes, try to get up to about 80%. Then after my work was done, I would drive for about 2 hours to pick her up, use about 20% to get there. And then the way home took about an hour, and I would use about 30%. Then sometime before bed, I would go do a quick charge for about 40 to 60 minutes to get back up to 80%. So you can see that I would sometimes have 25% to 30% left when I would get home, which means I didn't have to charge quite as long as I did every time. But I like having a safety cushion just in case something happens, there's a detour, or in case my girlfriend and I wanted to go somewhere for dinner. So as you can see, it was possible for me to do a crazy long commute in a 2017 Chevy Bolt when I can't charge where I live. But just because I could do it doesn't mean that it could be possible for you too. So a good way to figure out if it's possible for you is use this website/app called A Better Route Planner. And basically all you have to do is plug in some info like your car, your starting battery percentage, and how much battery you want to have when you get back home. And it'll tell you where you need to charge, how long you need to charge for, and how much that will cost you. It's a really awesome tool to help you alleviate any kind of range anxiety that you might have. And it'll basically let you know if a commute or a destination is possible. Teslas have stuff like this built into the car, but a car like my Chevy Bolt does not, so this app is a really, really handy tool. So if you have a crazy long commute and you're looking into getting an EV for yourself, I personally would not recommend the Chevy Bolt. Now, the big reason right now is that Chevy, from what I understand, is not allowed to sell the car because a few have caught on fire and there's a recall on all models of the Bolt. If this is in the future and you can actually get your hands on a Bolt, I would still not recommend it because the DC fast charging on that car is pretty slow. If we compare the Bolt to a Tesla Model 3 or Model Y, where it took me 2 hours to do my DC fast charging for the day, it would take a Tesla around 30 minutes to do the same amount of charging. Now, to me, that's a huge deal. Life would have been a lot less stressful if I only had to do a total of 30 minutes of charging compared to 2 hours. Now, Tesla isn't the only other option out there right now. You might want to look into the Ford Mustang Mach-E. People seem to like that car. There are some problems, so make sure to do your research on that. But it's a car that I would kind of consider if I were in the market for a new car and had the money for it. And on the horizon, some cars that have really fast charging, at least on paper, are the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6. So some things for you to research if you have a really long commute and you're looking into getting an EV. A quick side note, even if your car can charge really fast, like the Ioniq 5 is supposed to be able to charge at a max of 350 kilowatts, if you're at a station that doesn't support that, your car's not going to charge that fast. So just make sure to check out the chargers in your area or on the way to and from your work and see what their max charge rate is. And you can do this by going on an app like PlugShare, checking out the charger, and looking at its max charge rate. So if you have a really long commute, I hope this video helped you realize that it can be possible with an EV. Again, I would not recommend it in a Bolt. If you can get a car that can charge faster, go that way because spending 2 hours a day charging is not the best. If you have any questions about this really long commute that I did, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, my feet are asleep. Oh.